behind them are the ones who I think are who have let this immigration thing and our borders leaking. They're the ones who have let this thing go for so long and have tied the hands of people that really wanted to do something about it. They did so for a reason, because you remember Baphomet, right? And let's see, we have this video here. Where is it? Somebody took my copy of Baphomet. Anyway, got a new video out called Baphomet, the God of Transformation, and I show you the symbolism of the God of the Knights Templar, showing you exactly how things, not just what's going to happen, but how it's going to happen. And in order to bring in a new world order, you have to dissolve the old one. And so they're the ones who are creating this monstrosity of hundreds of millions of illegal workers in this country. They're the ones that allowed it to happen when all we had to do was enforce the laws that we had on the books already. But no. Now we have a crisis. We have a healthcare crisis. We have a bad crisis. Got to do something about it. Now we have an immigration crisis, and now all of a sudden we have a solution. We have a fix for this problem. It's showing up in the banking system. Here is a screen capture I did this morning of the Drudge Report when I came in this morning. Stocks dropped most in a year on economic reports. European debt crisis. Let's see here. Confusion over regulation moves trigger sell-offs. Called the perfect storm. World order, U.S., Britain, and Germany to discuss debt crisis. The euro as we know it is dead. I mean, it's another big banking catastrophe. The FDIC reports problem banks at 775, or 1/10 of all U.S. banks, were on the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp's list of problem institutions in the first quarter as bad loans in the commercial real estate market weighed on bank balance sheets. All right, so this is what I call a setup. I like a good joke. Okay, I like to tell a good, I can't bring any to mind right now, but I like to tell a good joke, especially one that kind of tricks people, all right? And to every good joke, there's always a setup. You got to set people up first. And by the way, if you watch guys like Creflo Dollar and if you watch these guys, they are masters of manipulation, and they will spend, in a 30-minute program, they'll spend 20 minutes setting you up to swallow the false doctrine they're going to give. You watch their practices, people. But I'm telling you, this whole banking crisis is a setup. If we would let commercial capitalism, which is a bad word now, it's almost like saying some cuss word somewhere, if we would let that fix itself, it would. If we would let the people of this country fix the problems, they would fix the problems. It's called innovation. But here we have these major crises all over the world, and oh my goodness, you know what? We just happen to have a solution for that. So that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Speaking of marks, one of our astute watchers sent me this. All right, let's see here. Let's get Babel Conspiracy out here. Here's a DVD, a digital versatile disc, and here's and this is old-fashioned. Okay, this is like way old-fashioned technology here. It's called a book. Okay, not a Kindle, not an e-book. This is a book, and you can get that from our ministry. It's called The Babel Conspiracy, 9/11, 2012, and beyond. And there are occult signatures, and God is helping me to read symbols and to study things and to see things and get it. And you continue to pray for this ministry and pray for me in my study that we would be allowed to keep doing that, not for us, not for our glory, but for you to send out a warning. But I'm getting better at spotting and judging symbolisms. I remember the first time I started reading Morals and Dogma, I went, man, this is stupid. What was he, on drugs when he wrote this? Well, he might have been, but I definitely believe he's under the influence of the Spirit. And now I'm getting to where when I read it or go through it, I'm looking at it and I'm going, yeah, okay, I know what that means. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, sure, Oh yeah, I know what you're not saying there, okay? Here's one here. What is the generative number? Answer, in the divinity, it is the unit. See, I'm just straying here. In created things, the number 2, because the divinity 1 engenders 2, and in created things 2 engenders 1. What is the most majestic number? Answer, 3, because it denotes the triple divine essence. That's the triple helix. So I read this and I'm going, I get this. Woohoo! All right. So anyway, one of our astute watchers sent me The old and the new logo for British Petroleum, BP. You know, the people that, had this well blow up on April 20th, the 110th day a year, that's 11 times 10. That specifically points you to the Tower of Babel, Genesis chapter 11. The number 11 in the Bible is the number for chaos, confusion. Now remember that word chaos also means the pit, the abyss, the deep part of the earth. Where did they get oil from? Hang on to that. So April 20th, 110th day of the year, this oil rig blows up. And you remember the previous story that we did on this. 11 people died. Now you have to believe in spiritual conspiracies in order for you to understand that this is how it works. So one of our watchers said, Pastor Mike, take a look at, here's the old BP logo. It's just BP. And now we have a new logo. And I'm telling you, when I was down in Van Buren last weekend, on the way down there, we had about 7 hours of driving, and on the way down there, I'm just looking at billboards and signs. And I'm just looking now at symbols. And isn't it amazing that now all of a sudden, all of these companies and corporations that have been around for years have started changing their logos now. Have you noticed? Start looking. Because you're going to see it. And you're going to see elements of things that we have talked about on this broadcast. You're going to see elements of occult knowledge inside those company logos. And it's the same thing with the BP symbol. Now the new BP symbol, it looks like a flower. Isn't that pretty? It looks like a flower, doesn't it? 4 colors actually. It looks like a flower here, doesn't it? It's actually a lotus. Now, if you know anything about the New Age, you know that in the New Age movement, the lotus means everything. In fact, here's a picture of a lotus, and here's a picture of a woman in the lotus position. Now, she is a practitioner of yoga. You know, that stuff that all these church people are doing now and saying, oh, I heard Jesus when I got into this yoga trance. They're practicing yoga now, which is nothing more than a New Age Eastern mysticism way of getting in touch with familiar spirits. That's what yoga is all about. Listen, they're not hearing God. They're not hearing from Jesus in there. They're hearing from familiar spirits, masquerading spirits, like the one who masqueraded as Samuel back in the days of Saul when he went to visit Endor, the witch of Endor. But this lotus symbol, in fact, I got a copy of a book called A Dictionary of Symbols, and here's what this book says. The lotus is considered in India as the center point where Brahma dwells. Now, Brahma is a picture of the Antichrist. Now, I want you to get that. Brahma dwells and as the visible manifestation of his occult, which means secret, activity. So let's go back to this logo here. This logo then would represent things that are occulted or things that are a secret. In other words, Brahma is in the center here and he's hiding inside of here. I want you to get that because all of this symbolism has everything to do with this oil well disaster and all of this stuff. All right? Now, the lotus is related, according to the Dictionary of Symbols, is related to other flower symbols such as the rose and the fleur-de-lis. Okay, the fleur-de-lis. There's your triple helix right there. And all of these flower symbols, and I won't go into all the symbolism of it, but all these flower symbols are symbols of what's called the divine feminine or the sacred feminine. Now, the interesting thing is, and we know this from our study on the Da Vinci Code, let's bring out Dan Brown here. When Dan Brown wrote the Da Vinci Code, he introduced some concepts that were not widely known, but now are. In fact, everybody knows about them. The idea of what's called the sacred feminine. In other words, the woman is the goddess. And we need to restore the sacred feminine in politics and in business, and we need to restore the sacred feminine in the church. And that is exactly, my friend, what's going on. The Bible describes this sacred feminine as mystery. Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. She is the antithesis of God. She is the total opposite of God. Whereas God reveals through the pages of the Scripture, she, as the lotus, conceals. She's hiding. Who's she hiding? She's hiding who's inside of her, deep inside of her. She's hiding the Antichrist who's in a pit, who's in the abyss, who's in the chaos right now. Now, here's an